Hello everybody. Today we'll be studying Chapter 10. Chapter 10, the title is Formatting, Report, and Proposal. In this chapter, basically, we will learn how to prepare informal document as well as formal documents. So if we take a look at some of the learning objectives, it will be when to use informal document format and general guideline for informal document format, and when to use formal document format, and strategy for organizing formal documents, and guideline for 9 parts of formal documents. So when do we use informal report? We use informal report actually that's our next topic, when to use informal report and general guideline for informal report and specific guideline for 5 informal report. So normally informal report contains 2 to 5 pages of text, not including attachment. So just the words by itself, basically when we say informal, it means informal, not really official. So it will be normally informal report will be shorter than official report, right? Informal report. And it contains basically more substance than a simple letter or a memo, but less than formal report. So when we write simple letter or a memo, normally it will be only 1 page letter or memo, but in informal report, it will consist of 2 to 5 pages normally. And it is more directed to readers outside the organization. Sometimes to even your superior or your subordinate and inside organization. Now those basically report that send out to outside, we call that letter report. Those actually normally used internally, we call memo report. Okay, at this time, as usual, I'd like to actually watch one video, the YouTube video. YouTube video will explain actually when to use formal report and when to use informal report. So let's watch this video together.
To write an article, you should always ask yourself, who's the target audience? What's the best way to communicate my message to them? And does my topic require a certain delivery style? Answering these questions will help you determine how to write your articles. More specifically, do you need to write more formal or informal? So how do you know which style to use? Well, in this video, we'll put the information in your hands so you can choose the correct writing style for your articles. So what's the difference between formal and informal writing styles? Well,
I tend to be complex and thorough. I'm simple and more conversational. I take on more serious topics in a very direct way.
Well, I use a larger range of emotions and show more personality.
wait, I can see how this is going to end. Let's explain this one at a time. Formal writing, you're first. Step up to the microphone.
Thank you. Like I said before, I'm complex and thorough. I use longer sentences, and each of my main points are introduced, elaborated on, and concluded. My articles use full words, not contractions or abbreviations. My writing is objective. I state the main points confidently and offer a full support of arguments. I am not a personal writing style, so there are very few emotions included. Thank you for your time.
Okay, informal writing, you're up.
Alright, hey everybody. I'm Informal Writing, and I'm much more conversational than our former friend. Sometimes I use slang or even figures of speech. I like to include a more personal or emotional tone. I also speak directly to you, the audience, by using words like you or your. I'm pretty simple because I use short sentences or even incomplete sentences to make my point. Oh, lastly, I like to keep it short, so I use contractions and abbreviations. That pretty much wraps up my style of writing. Thanks.
Thank you, Informal Writing. As you can see, each style has their own merits, but their usage depends on the tone you're trying to set. Think about your audience and the topic of your article. Adopt a formal style when you're taking on a more serious, objective topic, and write informally when you're comfortable and familiar with your readers. In the end, you have to make the decision of which style of writing is best for your articles. It's in your hands now, so go write and submit a brand new set of quality, original, formal, or informal articles.
Okay, that was rather a short video. Okay, let's go back to our PowerPoint. So let's say in this PowerPoint, we briefly discussed informal letter report and informal memo report. Now this is a sample of informal letter report, and actually in your textbook, in chapter 10, when you actually go beyond chapter summary, you will see actually all these samples. And or you can, like I told you, you can even go to Google and put some sample letter report, then you will also get a lot more samples. Okay, so as you can see, in the letter format, we start with basically somebody who is writing it, date, somebody who is receiving it, and attention to, and basically here's the specific topic. Then it goes into introduction summary, give you general idea, and we call this actually abstract part of ABC. In this chapter, in this course, we've been talking about over and over. Look, I think in each lecture, ABC format. A was abstract, B was body, C is conclusion. In letter, basically report, this part we don't actually write abstract, but we write introductory summary. And basically, this part will give you a little more focus. Basically, what is the main point that you are trying to say? Then we have another basically title, and here this part is more body of the letter, and it gives you all the detail work at the project site, laboratory analysis, and it has another subtitle as well. Then on the back, it goes like more detailed title. So all these are actually part of the body. Then toward the end, we have conclusions and recommendation. I will not actually read through all these, sample, but it is in your textbook, and it is good to just read through from the beginning to end and get some ideas. Okay. Then this one actually it gives some graphics, user guide, and conclusion. Now, I think I skipped this part. Okay, this part, the previous one was a letter report. As you can see, now we have a memo report. Memo report is more for internal communication. And basically here, as you can see, memorandum to from subjects. So this word is from one department to another department in the same company and subject. Again, it starts with the same format, just like the letter report. it starts with the abstract. And here we call that introductory or summary. Then we go into basically topics. One we have a heading topic, then we have subheading topics under basically this title. Then toward the end, we have conclusion. So if we go back, this portion is called abstract. This portion is body. Then we have conclusion. So always same format. Okay, so let's go into general guideline for informal report. Now, general guideline first will be plan well before you write. Secondly, use letter or memo format, which we just went through, and make text visually actually appealing, which means use a lot of headings and subheadings, and use ABC format for organization, abstract, body, and conclusion. But in letter or memo, we don't call that abstract, we call introductory summary. Then we go in the body, we divide into headings and subheadings. Then we have conclusion. As you can see, it emphasizes in this letter for report, we don't call abstract, but we call that introductory summary. Then put important details in the body. Then separate fact from opinion. Whenever you actually mention the fact, you normally like to cite the reference where you get that information. And whenever you start your opinion, normally it is a good idea to start with I feel that, or in my opinion, or I believe. In that way, reader know that it is your opinion. And lastly, when you go to conclusion, focus attention in your conclusion. And if you have a lot more detail, you want to actually put attachment following the report. Then edit carefully. You want, we always, as a draft, revise, edit it. That's basically, same cycle we go through. Okay, so then we go into a little more detail on the idea of plan well before you write. So how do we plan well? And it said use a planning form to record specific information about this point, which means you can start with what is a purpose, define document's purpose. And also you have to be concerned about variety of readers who receive your documents, and you need to meet their need and expectation, and you outline the main point. So in normally introductory summary, you like to actually give some introduction, what is purpose of your documents, and basically who is that documents for, and you want to later outline the main point. And use letter or memo format. That's basically what we went through. Then you like to make your documents report more visually appealing. So how do you make it visually appealing? You use headings, subheadings with basically bold or bold point. Use number point for order step. If you a lot of sequence, you probably want to use either A, B, C, D, or 1, 2, 3, 4, and use frequent headings and subheadings. Then again, you talk about ABC format for organization, abstract, body, and conclusion. Okay, here, excuse me, as we mentioned, in the informal report, we don't call introductory summary abstract. We call introductory summary. And in the introductory summary, it contains 3 essential pieces of information. First one will be purpose of the report, scope statement, what is the scope of your report, and summary of essential, which is same as main point. So those 3 ideas, purpose, scope of statement, main point, that goes into your introductory summary. Then when you go into the body, you are going to write more detail about a lot of information supporting your introductory summary. So in the body, because if this is like 1 full page without separating paragraph, it looks forward and people cannot just read through from 1 page with the full of no space. So if you can remember, we talk about white pages. We have to give some white pages for reader to be relaxed and give time to read it through. So use heading generously, and after heading you can put some subheading with basically a lead-in passage. And whenever you basically write, you want to begin with a more general scope to more specific scope. Then we talk about separate facts from the opinion. Now, whenever you report facts, you have to, I told you, cite where that facts came from. So, when you actually want to support some assertion, some topic, you want to provide idea or belief that you develop from your finding. This is your opinion. Then you recommend or suggest action item based on your conclusion. Now in your conclusion, basically, you want to briefly restate your conclusion or recommendation to reinforce important topics, important point, and give a little more detail if it is not covered in the abstract or body. And if you have some more detail, you can attach those documents as appendix. So you use attachment for less important detail. Then lastly, edit carefully. Keep most sentences short and simple. And you want to proofread several times before you turn your report. Then triple check all cost figures for accuracy. Make sure all attachments are included. And check the format and wording of our headings and subheadings. And sometimes it's good habit to have your colleague or your other fellow employee to check, read over your report. So proofreading done by the third party. Okay, then we will move on to formal report. But before we move on to formal report, actually I like to watch one more YouTube video, which is about writing a proposal. So I think second video. Now this is about basically how to organize your proposal. And basically this was actually lecture by another professor in another school, but I thought her video was good, so let's watch it together.
For today's video, our learning objectives are to 1, be able to organize a proposal into specific sections, 2, induce problem discovery in the problem statement, propose smart solutions, and to conclude your proposal with power. The organization of a proposal follows pretty common conventions. There's a purpose statement, which is a short statement of about a paragraph explaining what you're proposing, why, and what the benefit will be to the company. There's a problem statement that fully identifies the problem, but the most important characteristics of the problem that then relate to your solution. So your solution should be related directly to your problem. right? And then there's the cost benefit, because any solution is going to require resources. How do you balance that cost with the benefits that the organization will realize? And because proposals require approval to move forward, how do you conclude with power to ensure the best chance of your proposal being instituted by the organization? Start with the purpose. A purpose statement is like a movie trailer or a pitch. One of the most famous pitches is that for Alien. The person who was pitching it is rumored to have said that Alien is like Jaws on a spaceship. That's it. Jaws on a spaceship. No extra words used. All of the connotations of Jaws and all the magic and science fiction feelings and thoughts of a spaceship are brought together in that one sentence. Now, I don't know that any purpose statement for a business can be quite that concise or that visual, but you do want to keep it to a one-paragraph introduction. This is like a trailer. You're getting a taste of what's coming, but you want to read more. In it, you want to identify the problem, preview the solution, and illustrate a better future. Right? In the Alien pitch, Jaws on a spaceship, well, Jaws grossed quite a bit of money. And at the time that this idea was pitched, science fiction movies and those in space were getting quite a bit of attention. So this better future for the producer was clearly a lot more money for a famous grossing film, which is exactly what Alien became. Here's an example of a purpose statement. Gardens R Us has struggled to grow their business through more landscaping clients. A site audit reveals that rewriting website copy can optimize the site for landscaping search engine results that will lead to new business. I've identified or emphasized some words here. So Gardens R Us is the organization that I work for in this case, as an example. And I am indicating that this organization, my organization, has struggled to grow our business through more landscaping clients. We've conducted a site audit in our marketing department, and it's revealed, so you notice that I use evidence here, that rewriting the website's copy can optimize the site for the landscaping keyword search engine, so that search engines can find those results that will lead to new business. So this is the example of the future. So in a purpose statement, ask yourself these questions and then hone it down to a single paragraph. And you notice nowhere here do I have the word I. Remember that a proposal is a professional document and therefore should be written in the third person professional. So the first question is, what are you proposing? In this case, I'm proposing rewriting website copy so that landscaping can be optimized for search engine results. I'm proposing this because, and you notice I start with my reason and then go to my solution, but this is just easier to think through as you're drafting. So the reason I'm proposing it is because my company has struggled to grow their business through more landscaping clients. So this is what the business wants. And why? Because the end benefit is new business, right? They don't want to serve the same clients over and over again and just serve them more. They want to bring in new clients in the landscaping area. So with my end benefit, I've also shown that I understand the needs of my company.
Okay, actually, let's not watch the whole video because I wanted to actually give you some format, how to write the proposal, because that is not in my PowerPoint. However, that is getting a little too long, and we have another video, last one, which will talk about how to write formal report. So let's more concentrate in formal report than formal report. And whenever you need to write proposal, we have some example in the textbook, as well as if you Google it, basically you can find a lot more samples. So let's move on to formal report. And formal report covers actually more complex projects and is directed to readers at different technical levels. So formal report cover more complex issue and more technical issue. and usually contain at least 6 to 10 pages, which is about 2 times longer than our informal report. And that does come appendix. And also directed either to inside or outside your organization. So if we highlight it, it's more complicated. It's projects, and it's for us longer than 6 pages, and basically readers can be either inside or outside, or your board of directors, or you might want to make a report to actually some government agency. So basically, for strategies for organizing formal report, basically we write different parts for different readers, and we place basically important information at the beginning, because this is rather long report. We like to basically identify or give a clear idea what our report is about. Then we like to repeat key points when necessary. So repeat the key points many times throughout our report. Now again, even in the formal report, basically we will still follow ABC format. In abstract part, actually is more divided into cover page with the title, and you will have a little memo or letter of transmitter, like cover letter. Then we'll have a table of contents. Then we will list of illustration, executive summary, and introduction. So this is a lot more complicated than informal report. In informal report, basically we combine everything into basically introductory summary. That was our abstract, one title. Our abstract was introductory summary of informal report. But in formal report, it is divided into basically 6 areas: cover, letter, cover page, cover letter, table of content, list of illustrations, executive summary, and introduction. Then in the body, we will talk about discussion sections, and with a lot of headings and appendix, supporting body. And conclusion, we have conclusion and recommendation. Okay, so if we actually divide it into, make a counterpart, it will be, we call 9 part of formal report. So among those 9 parts, we have 6 part is in abstract. So between here to here, like cover page, cover letter, table of contents, list of illustration, executive summary, and introduction, those 6 parts are abstract. Then we have a body that's basically a discussion section. Then we have conclusion, recommendation, and the material will be more appendices. Okay, so let's go over each one separately. First, title page or cover page. Now, title page basically will have a project title, client's name, so prepare for who, and who's prepare your name or name of your organization, prepared by, then date of submission. So it look like this. Basically, this is the project title, prepared for, prepared by, and date of the preparation. Then in the cover letter, we call a letter of transmitter. We put letter or memo, include major points from the report, acknowledge those who have to, and follow letter and memo conventions. So this cover letter will more look like this one. So here, this is your company address, date, who you are writing to, and attention to somebody's name, then the project title. And cover letter, there is really no heading because just a common type of letter. Basically, we have completed basically our 7-month project on such introduction, some main point, and basically thank you and signature. Okay, then we go to third part. It will be table of content. In table of contents, make it very readable. Use the content passage to review report. Basically, emphasis, and consider leaving out low-level headings. List the appendix. Use paragraph form in order entry, and proofread carefully. So this is how our table of content look like. We have title. Here, list of illustration, executive summary, introduction, field of investigation. But this is more like up to here is abstract, body, conclusion, and all the pages they can find, and appendices. Also, at least page number. Then we go to list of illustration with the number, title, page number. It looks like this. What kind of illustration that you include in the report? So it said figures, tables, and they have page number as well. Then we go into executive summary. In executive summary, we put in one page, avoid technical jargon, include only important conclusion recommendation, avoid reference to the report body, use paragraph format, and write the executive summary last. So let's take a look at it. The executive summary should be less than one page. So basically, executive summary give you a concise summary of what you did and make it separate into different paragraph format. Then we go into introduction. In the introduction, we state purpose and leads into subsection and project description, scope information, and basically some of the information that you include on report format. So here, we don't have a sample for introduction, but it will be look similar to executive summary. Then in the discussion section, basically, this is more body of your report. You have to basically differentiate between fact and opinion, and you like to actually use a lot of headings and subheadings to make easy to read, and use listing to break up long paragraph. Use illustration for clarification and persuasion, and place excessive detail in appendices. Then in the conclusion and recommendation, in conclusion, basically convictions or belief on finding your study. Recommendation will have actions you are suggesting based on your conclusion. And lastly, and the material will be appendices, glossary, bibliography, and index, if you need to include all that. Okay, let's watch our last YouTube video, which will give you actually more, we just went through on the PowerPoint, but this basically will give you a review one more time. So this title is Formal Report Overview. So let's watch it together.
I'm Sandra Stanko, your instructor for professional writing, and I wanted to go over some things that I hope you find useful as you're preparing your formal report this week, which is due on Thursday, December 20th. What you see on your screen right now is an image from the textbook beginning on page 435. And this is a model that's provided for you in there there so you can see the different parts of the formal report and how they all work together, how they're formatted and such. Right here is the cover page, the title page. You can see what's the different parts that are needed on that, or they can be included on that. After the cover page is the letter of transmittal. Here it's pictured as a memorandum. Essentially, it's a letter that you include with your report to your client that just says, here's the report, here's why I wrote it. It's an introduction that you provide to the report. It's like a cover letter you would send with a resume or something. It's just so the report just isn't hanging there or just isn't abruptly given to someone. It's an introduction to the report for the client. Okay, so after you write your letter of transmittal, you will have your table of contents, which you worked on last week. Here they are. And I will show you when I get into the Word document here, the template, how to automatically generate those, or how to automatically generate the table of contents using Word. But here you can see that that's where it goes in the report. And if you have any illustrations, you can list those here as well. The next part of this sample is an executive summary, and you do not need to include that in your final report. It's an executive summary is an overarching summary of the whole report, very short and condensed version to give the reader a quick overview of what you're going to be going into more detail about. But you don't need to worry about that for this version. Okay, then after your table of contents, you would get into the content of your report, where you're going to compare 5 different areas between 2 different career choices. So you would go through that, and after you do your comparison, be sure to make a recommendation and conclusion. So you want to recommend one career over the other, give a reason why, and write a conclusion for your paper. After that, you will have a list of references, at least 6 listed in APA citation style. So I'm not going to scroll through this whole sample. It's pretty slow, but you can take a look at it again yourself.